generation is so soft, says the same people who were crying 50 years ago over having to share a water fountain with a black person.
He rolled over into that thought. He definitely rolled over into that thought. And my question to everybody who's seen that is, how old is he? And he's smarter than the group. That's the crazy part. Is like, you can tell he's not. I wouldn't say he's a complete genius, but he's smarter than the group. And it's just crazy to think a child could see it, and grown-ups can't. But you're on the right track, my boy. You're on the right track. Don't let them take you off that high horse that you on, even though it's not a high horse. Tell me what y'all think about in the comments, though. And it's just crazy he is that young with that much sense. Good parents. Is either good parents or they gave him enough freedom that he decided to learn things to do it the right way compared to how other people did it.
Me the most about that post I made the other day about that child who was like, 50 years ago, y'all were crying about sharing a fountain with black people, which was very valid. It may have not been 50 years ago, but I've never seen a platform where a bunch of adults are trying to dissect a child who's obviously 10 to 13 years old, maybe younger, you feel me? And they're like, oh, well, 50 years ago, nobody was crying about a water fountain. Do the math. You guys are a bunch of adults dissecting a child, and this goes to show how uneducated and foolish some of you guys really are, because everybody understood exactly what that kid was saying. His whole point of where he was coming from was explaining the fact that years and years and years ago, racism was a thing. Years and years ago, people couldn't go to the same school together, but because that's not a thing anymore, it shows who still wants that to be a thing by the way you guys project and deflect. Obviously, a child's not going to have the timeline perfect because, again, this child's 8 to 13 years old. But for all of you saying, oh, it wasn't 50 years ago. No shit, Sherlock. Maybe an adult should be able to identify that. But the problem is you guys still can't. And the fact that the world is still not divided, it makes you guys so angry. And I feel like that is the problem. That's a deeper rooted issue. Your racism can't be public anymore. Sucks to suck, doesn't it?
I was losing hope in humanity. This guy is so intellectually capable of saying things of this nature. This kid is going places. He is going far.
Said in the comments, the kids are all right. There is hope in Gen Alpha. I don't know who his parents are, but they raised a smart kid. Keep up the good work, y'all. I really thought he was going to say more in this video. I thought he was going to eat these suckers down. I thought he was going to go in on them. I mean, he already went in on them with that one line talking about how, oh, this generation is so soft. Really? When y'all aren't y'all the same people who were complaining 50 years ago about having to share a water fountain with black people? Weren't you the same people complain about having to sit in the same area as black people? Weren't you the same people complaining about DEI? This is why we need to continue on teaching black history in the schools and every person of color history in the schools, so we can learn from the mistakes of the past, and so that the next generation can be better and brighter and smarter than the previous generation before. Someone was like, this little boy is invited to all the cookouts. Let him know, please. He's invited to all the cookouts for life. Yes, he is.
This new generation is so soft, says the same people who were crying 50 years ago over having to share a water fountain with a black person.
Why does this kid have a phone? Why is he making like great points? And why is he talking into his phone from that direction? And how did he upload it?
And how does he know about this?
Because he has a phone.
Bro, I thought we dug this good enough, dude.
You thought we buried this?
Yeah, I thought we buried this a while ago, bro. I thought we covered this up, man.
He looks so disgusted. His face is like... Oh, yeah.
This kid's just learning about a cranberry juice box. How is this kid learning about this?
This comment says, bro woke up and out of all languages, he chose to speak facts.
The history they want to erase, and this was in 1953. He was 7 years old. He was thirsty. He drank from the wrong fountain, and he spent 3 hours in jail. The amount of hatred these people have for us and still have for us have to be studied, because I don't understand this. I don't understand how this was the norm back in the day. This is absolutely disgusting. The more I dig into history, the more shocking it gets. Like, I mean, he's a boy. He's a little boy. He's thirsty. It's hot. He needed a cup of water. And he spent wow, 3 hours in jail. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And by the way, did you also know that they were eating us? Yeah. They were killing us, eating us, cooking us. But like I said, they would never put that in the history books.
And I'll be right back.
One of the arguments you hear in opposition to talking to young children or to teaching elementary level school children about racism or the history of racism in America, the argument goes something along the lines of, well, you're going to make white kids feel bad about being white. What is your response to that?
Well, I would say those people are most concerned about our teaching of slavery. So let's just talk about slavery.
Sure.
If we teach white kids about slavery, we're going to teach them that there were white people who enslaved people and there were black people who were enslaved. And we're also going to teach them that there were white people and black people who challenged and fought against slavery. And so my question back to them would be, why can't we allow white children to identify with white abolitionists? And and also it demonstrates to me that these folks recognize that kids are not colorblind and that how we shape the curriculum impacts our children. So then why aren't they concerned about how black kids feel when they're not represented in the curriculum?
Perfect response. This is how you shut it down. Why do you assume these children would not identify with the abolitionists? Why do you assume that these children would identify more with the racist slave owners? But what's always been crazy to me is that white children are so delicate that they can't learn about racism, but black children can continue to experience it from said children. So when the white child is being racist, you can't teach them that racism is wrong. But the black child that's being abused by said child being racist, they have to deal with it. Go home and cry. The parents have to talk to them. How does that make sense? White children that delicate? Anywho, perfect response. Remember, diversity equal power. We can change the world when we work together and protect black women. Until next time.
Generation is so soft, says the same people who were crying 50 years ago over having to share a water fountain with a black person.
Jim Crow began being dismantled in 1954 and it was totally dismantled by 1968. A lot of people that were around during that time are still alive. The children during that time are between the ages of 50 and 80 today. And just because they were children when this was happening, and they may or may not remember it, didn't mean that they weren't taught these ways, because who raised them? The very people that lived through segregation raised them. That's why we see a lot of people being openly racist, especially the boomers, because this is what they grew up with. So yes, young one, you said that the same people complaining that this younger generation is soft are the same people that were complaining about drinking from the same water fountain as somebody with a different color as them. And here we are today, still seeing them cry because they're not the superior race, as they tried to continue to be the superior race. Not all of them, but most of them. And let's also not forget the people of color that ass kiss, because they think that the more they kiss ass, the whiter their skin color becomes. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below.
This is why I keep saying catching them young is very important. Catching them young is very important. Look at this boy explaining, teaching, educating adults. People that are supposed to be educating him. He is now the one in turn educating them and telling them, making them understand the depth of what black people has been through. See the kudos everybody is giving him. I so much love this. Honestly, I can't lie to you guys. I love this, to be honest. But anyways, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you. Liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks. Also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, with that being said, let's dive right into the other part of this video. I'll be back with commentaries because I have a lot to say at the end of this video. Let's go, guys.
Thing that's been happening is due to racism. I'm tired of you dumb motherfuckers pretending that it wasn't. The redistricting is due to racism because black people vote Democrat in the South. Why do black people vote Democrat in the South? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Democrats gave them the vote, and then all of the white people became Republicans. Because white people in the South do not want to be in community with black people. So they went and switched to another fucking party. The destruction of education in this country is because white people in the South did not want their kids going to schools with black kids. So they have been trying to destroy the Department of Education so they can steal tax money and make white-only schools. Abortion. They don't want black women to have access to reproductive care so they can economically hold them the fuck down. Also, it was a backdoor way to trick Catholics and other people that aren't Southern fucking Baptists and evangelicals into coming into community with white Southerners over a wedge issue so they could take over the Supreme Court so the Supreme Court could say that racism is over and instantly we bring back all the racist fucking policies. It's been this way the entire fucking time. If you can't see that.
Why white people are still racist today is because of their experience with.
No, the fuck not. It is not because of the experience that they have with black people that some white people are racist. It is the fact that their parents taught them to be racist. And the fact that they have not done the due diligence to unlearn that racism. And I am speaking that from experience. I grew up in a very racist household. My grandmother was racist, my mother was racist. And I learned and said a lot of racist things, all of which I deeply fucking regret. But the reason I did those things and the reason I thought that doing those things was okay was because that's what I learned from my parents. I was in fact one of those people who were screaming about it's not hatred, it's heritage. I was one of those people who saw nothing wrong with still carrying around the Confederate flag. But guess what? After I got out into the real world and experienced the real world and got away from the people who were racist and who were feeding that mindset into my brain, I broke away from those mindsets. And after breaking away from that mindset and the people who were feeding that mindset into me and starting to experience and have conversations with real life black people other than, just a few interactions in high school, I started to unlearn all that bullshit that was brainwashed into my fucking brain. And just to put a scope as to how bad the brainwashing was, my mother, my birth giver, because she's no longer my mother, I don't associate with her, used to call people the N-word with the hard ER, not with an A, with the hard ER. And her justification for that was if they didn't want to be called that, they shouldn't act that way. And I thought that was okay. I now understand that that is a really fucked up thing to fucking say. But at the time, I thought it was okay because that was the person who raised me, the person who brainwashed me into thinking that way. So if you, as a white person, are still having these mindsets, it is your duty and responsibility to break away from these fucked up mindsets. It is not a black person's job to tiptoe around your
Well, TikTok Thomas, some young dude, maybe a little bit older than Noga, between Noga and Jasmine. He was like, this generation weak. Y'all scared of everything. He said from a generation who 50 years ago was crying because they had to share a water fountain with a black person. Damn. Somebody was like, but he's not lying. No, but he's like, we weak.
And not being wild. Yeah, not being wild. He been here already. That's how he know.
Nah, for real.
Yeah, he felt that. Yeah.
You heard what that baby said. He said that with his whole chest. And I believe that he is a part of the group that Whitney was talking about, the children of our future. We have stumbled upon them. Because I've been searching high and I've been searching low. And I have not been getting any results. But that baby said what he said. TT, we got you. Don't worry. You said what you said.
Your generation threw a fit at the thought of black people drinking from the same drinking fountains as white people.
Ooh. Also, remember that time their parents blew up Tulsa, Oklahoma? Like an American city. Why did they throw bombs at Tulsa, Oklahoma? We should look it up. Google that.
I had a pretty unique exposure to racism when I was a kid. My siblings and I were adopted. My sister is white, my parents are white, my brother is black. Our community was white, our schools were white, everyone was white. Growing up, my brother was bullied incessantly by people of all ages, even family members. Since I was 2 years older, I felt like it was my responsibility to defend him. To do that, I developed a spidey sense for identifying racists. The way I saw it, there were 4 kinds of people when it came to racism. There were the openly racist and not afraid to show it people. There were the covertly racist but careful to hide it people. There were the not racist but unwilling to call it out people. And there were the not racist and willing to do something about it people. Of course, that last group was few and far between. As a kid, it was clear to me that 3 of the 4 groups were complicit in harming my brother. An overt racist would say something racist to my brother. The covert racist wouldn't flinch. The not racist but not willing to call it out person would act like they didn't see it. And my brother would get the message that he either deserved whatever was said or he wasn't worth defending. It didn't matter that some of the people weren't racist because enough of them were. Enough of them were so the group didn't have to change a damn thing. And that's what I keep thinking about with this ruling on the Voting Rights Act. Our nation has made very little progress at making this world safe for people like my brother. We've made very little progress at changing the messages that people like my brother absorb. The way the world expects the worst from him every single second of every day. We still very much have a group that's unwilling to change. I've been thinking about this because it feels like something changed with the last ruling. The slide from covert to overt seems much more obvious. The racist underpinnings of this decision are not plausibly deniable. The fact that Alito cited bad data to support his position, knowing full well he would be fact-checked, is very telling. And let's not pretend the conservative justices didn't know Republican lawmakers in the South were going to take the ball and run on this. Maybe they didn't realize just how quickly the greasy, grimy, greedy lawmakers would shove their racist flags into the soil of every single voting district. Except something tells me the kinds of people who accept bribes from fat cats with matters before the court, the kinds of people who announce their homophobic and Christian nationalist tendencies by literally flying symbolic flags at their home, the kinds of people who only adopted a formal ethics code after years of pressure and made sure it has little enforcement power. Those kinds of people probably knew exactly what would happen with this ruling. And it's quite clear that they don't care that because of this ruling, people like my brother will find themselves in rooms even more populated with people complicit in racism, and the people willing to do something about it will be even fewer and farther between. Yeah. Well, SCOTUS, I hope you're having the day you deserve.
Can't understand how powerfully racist that question is, can you? Because you could never ask a white author, when are you going to write about black people?
Do you think that there is still and will forever be a black-white divide?
No. It's only kept alive because it's useful. When it stops being useful, they'll get rid of it.
Useful to whom?
To white people. They need it.
Well, that is attributing a kind of a willful intent.
Of course it's willful. It's irrational. Everybody knows it doesn't make any sense. But they hang on to this totally unscientific, mythological, metaphorical notion of division that is wasteful. It costs a lot. It diminishes the people who feel that way. And it hurts the people who don't feel that way. When they don't need it, as in wartime, they get rid of it. When they don't need it economically, they get rid of it. But if you need it in order to solve some political problem, or to justify a land grab, or you need workers who are dependent upon you, and you can convince them that, $2 an hour, $5 an hour is enough, then you use it. It has powerful utilitarian purposes.
But you are saying then that whites have a willful, malicious intent as far as... I think this is a naive question.
It's a naive question.
So it's there. I mean, this malice is there. That's why I ask you, do you think it's eradicable?
Well, it'll take some generations. But let me tell you, you cannot enslave people or kill races of people, whole races in a continent. You cannot do that as a human being unless you have persuaded yourself that A, they are not people, or their lives are not worthy, or that you have a mission to do that. No human being can do that. You cannot do it unless you believe it is better for those people to be dead. If you can get in an airplane in Brazil and fly around and shoot Indians for sport now, you have to persuade yourself that they are sport. Now, I don't know if that's malice or psychosis, but it exists. And the people who do it know it. They know that they are living a lie.
Do you think that there is something inherent in us, in whites, that undervalues someone whose skin is not the same color as ours?
It's not inherent at all. It's taught. And it's taught by theologians. It's been taught by scientists. Racism is a scholarly affair. It is totally ingrained in the education that we receive. The history. Encyclopedias are full of outrageous claims about whiteness and about blackness. You can feel better, no matter what your pitiful little life is like, no matter how many times you lose, no matter how poor your existence. If you encounter a black person, you can feel better.
You have in your writing certainly marginalized whites. Why are they of no particular interest to you, or seemingly no particular interest?
Well, I was interested in another kind of literature that was not just confrontational, black versus white. I was really interested in black readership. And I wanted to do, I think, for me, the allegory or the parallel is black music, which is as splendid and complicated and wonderful as it is because its audience was within its primary audience. The fact that it has become universal, worldwide, anyone, everyone can play it, and it has evolved, is because it wasn't tampered with and editorialized within the community. So I wanted the literature that I wrote to be that way. I could just go straight to where the soil was, where the fertility was in this landscape. And also, I wanted to feel free not to have the white gaze in this place that was so precious to me, which is the work.
And you will maintain this safe place for yourself, for your art? You don't think you will ever change and write books that incorporate white lives into them substantially?
I have done.
In a substantial way?
You can't understand how powerfully racist that question is, can you? Because you could never ask a white author, when are you going to write about black people? Whether he did or not, or she did or not. Even the inquiry comes from a position of being in the center.
And being used to being in the center.
And being used to being in the center. And saying, you know, is it ever possible that you will enter the mainstream? It's inconceivable that where I already am is the mainstream.
Oh no, that wasn't the implication of my question. I think you are very, very much in the mainstream. It's a question of the subject of your narrative, whether you want to alter the parameters of it, whether you see any benefit in doing that, or will you clearly see disadvantages in doing it from your own point of view?
Artistic disadvantages. There are no pluses for me. being an African American writer is sort of like being a Russian writer who writes about Russia, in Russian, for Russians. And the fact that it gets translated and read by other people is a benefit. It's a plus. But he's not obliged to ever consider writing about French people or Americans.
A white buddy of mine said black people don't deserve equality because they could never get enough. And that's true. White people are actually scared of equality. That's just how racist we are as a people. And it's not just that one person. White culture in general. Probably I would say most white people, when they hear the word equality, they fear that white people will be oppressed because brown, black, and indigenous people might actually get what's fair and just. That's just how racist we are. And we're so obsessed with the idea of not having equality in America for black, brown, and indigenous people that we don't have health care, that we don't have economic equality. We don't have reasonable gun laws. Our liberties are being stripped because we have a fascist, racist, white supremacist regime in office because we are so scared of equality. We're so scared that black and brown folks might become the majority one day. That we had a black president, and now we've got to have a white supremacist president. That's how scared we are of equality. That's how racist we are as a people. Go to the fucking root. The root of America's problems. The root of the white man and the white woman, their problems, and America and the world. If you think about it, colonialization, white supremacy, the mentality of white people today, not just yesterday, today, right now, the denial racially, the silence, the apathy, the continuous gaslighting, all that fucking shit, that's ruined us. It's ruined white people, and it's ruining our nation. And whose fault is it? White people's fault. Their inability to fucking fix their goddamn problem. Until we fix white supremacy, everything we try will fail. It's dysfunctional and it's toxic, and Trump and this regime is the perfect proof of all that shit. How we got in this fucking mess? White people's bullshit. White people's racist fucking bullshit. Period.
You know, when old racist white people walk around today, they be like, these motherfuckers really free. You gotta think about it. Like, they didn't see this future. In their mind, things were going to stay the same. Like, it was never going to be, it was always going to be blacks over here, whites over here, whites up here, blacks down here, color water fountain, white water fountain, and it was just going, it was always going to be like that. They didn't see the future, but now they gotta walk around and be like, these motherfuckers out here getting rich and thriving, and I'm seeing them on TV, and they all over the radio. Like, what the fuck? They have to reminisce on the past. I know racist old white people reminisce on the past. Damn, baby, remember back in the day when the blackies would cross the railroad tracks and we'd throw rocks at them and call them fried chicken eating, watermelon sucking, Kool-Aid drinking baboons, and they would just go back on their side of town for months on end? Well, after what happened in Alabama, my hopes and dreams of that ever happening again were slim to none. Abso-fucking-lutely. They just gotta live through that shit. They just gotta sit through it. They just gotta take it. Just imagine how they felt when Obama became president. I wish I was a fly on the wall in the house of an old racist white couple when they said, Barack Obama is your president. Oh my God. They had, so many of them had to have heart attacks. Oh my God. Baby, come look at the TV. We gotta move. We got to get out of here. Look at this, Maribel. We got to get out of here. They just letting anybody be president. How they let the baboon get in there? They can't fucking read. Can't believe they let Chris Rock be president, baby.
No, man, Cecil Williams, right? Y'all know this legendary picture
sir.
right here.
That's right.
Of the brother drinking out of the whites only water fountain. I always wanted to ask you, Mr. Williams, was it a spontaneous act of rebellion or something you planned to do as a statement?
It was a little bit of both. I was thirsty, but also this was, it was the middle of the sunshine of the summer. You know, as evident
Tell
by
my
the
shadow.
T-shirt. But also this was not the first time I did this. There were many other times that I felt I wanted to
Get a little close.
really. I was not satisfied with living in the status quo and segregation. So this was something that I had done many times, and my mother warned me not to do it anymore. But I did it again, and this time it was photographed.
Did you feel fear in that moment, or was your faith stronger than your fear?
None whatsoever. This is about 15, 20 miles from Orangeburg and on Highway 21 and coming back from an assignment for Jet magazine. But I never sent this picture to Jet. It was something that I held in the family, and I knew I would get chewed out had I, given it to my mother and father to see. So I hid it from them and never sent it to Jet either.
Wow. So how'd they get it?
Maybe 3 or 4 years later, I showed it to them in a conversation one Sunday afternoon during a dinner. It kind of came out, and then I got chewed out.
Wow.
You guys can literally see that a boy that is supposed to be getting educated from you people as old white folks is now the one educating you people. This little boy now understand the pains of black people. This little boy now understand what it feels, and he is educating adults. And you people sat down on that podcast laughing as if you don't understand what that little boy is saying. This is why I keep saying a lot of white folks' children, every single thing that they replicate is from the inside. Who is talking to them? Who is training them? Who is their parents? That is where you'll be able to know, because you guys can literally see that if this boy can detect the wrong from now, it simply means he's going to do well once he grows up. I said it that most of the things that habitually happen, that you see a lot of them becoming racist and don't care, is rooted in foundation. They don't teach them pains, they don't understand histories, they don't understand the depth, the magnitude that what slavery has literally caused. And I am happy that at least we have some few parents, because if you check even from the video, you see some black people saying kudos to the parents of this boy that is literally educating white folks, educating adults, educating people that are supposed to be educating him. You understand? So the moment you start with them early, the better for you. That's just the honest truth. And one of the reasons why we keep having a lot of nonchalant white folks children roaming around the street, peeping people anyhow, and then rubbing it on black people is the fact that their foundations were corrupt. Their foundations were corrupt. Now you can't tell me that this boy talking like this has literally not grown in the environment where he has people that understood the pains of black people. It will not just even take anything for you to just be sincere to your kids and just tell them this is how it is. I saw a particular video where this white girl was saying she saw her friend posted something about, she saw her best friend, her childhood best friend posted, a childhood black best friend posted that she lost her bestie, blah blah blah, without knowing any reason, and she felt bad. And one of the reasons why she distanced herself from this her friend was because her parents told her, her father to be precise, told her not to sit close to that her black friend, because black people are this, black people are that. But as at that time she was too young and she cannot literally explain to her best friend that, oh, this is actually what my parents said, and they just parted ways. So she just bumped into her video on TikTok, and immediately she saw that, she knew that that's her best friend was talking about her, and she felt so bad, like so bad, that she wasn't even able to like tell her exactly what literally transpired, and of which every single thing that happened was literally coming from her parents, and where they literally told her anything relating to black people, distance yourself. And then you start asking yourself questions like, how did we get here? That you are growing as a mother or as a father, you hate black people, you hate black skin so much to the point that you have to transfer it to your children, you have to transfer it to your generation, you have to let them see reasons why they shouldn't even associate with black people. It's that bad, honestly. But kudos to this boy, kudos to the fact that he understood the pains of black people. Apart from that, he understood what history is talking about, and he is here lecturing big ass adults. So shout out to him, and I really do appreciate that. And anytime I see videos like this, honestly, I can't help but bring them out here because it is not easy. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like always say in my videos, I'm going to see, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.